I walked into my own garage and found my wife wrapped around another man. But it wasn't the betrayal that broke me. It was the sheer arrogance radiating from him when he challenged me to a fight. Most men would have crumbled right there, seeing their life fall apart on a Tuesday afternoon. But I'm not most men. I'm a former Navy SEAL, trained to assess threats and neutralize them with surgical precision. When my wife's lover looked me in the eye and thought he could intimidate me, he made the biggest miscalculation of his life. I didn't just accept his challenge, I weaponized it to destroy everything he had. The flight from Denver landed 2 hours early on a Tuesday afternoon. I'd wrapped up the client meeting faster than expected, and the gate agent had managed to get me on an earlier connection. By 2:30 p.m., I was pulling into my driveway in Charlotte, looking forward to surprising Maria. After 12 years of marriage, I still liked making her smile. Her car sat in the driveway. Good, she was home. But there was also a black Mercedes I didn't recognize parked on the street. Probably one of her friends dropping by, I thought. I grabbed my carry-on from the back seat and headed for the side door that led through the garage. The door wasn't locked. I pushed it open, already planning what I'd say when I walked into the kitchen. Then I froze. Maria was against my workbench, half-dressed. Her tank top lay crumpled on the concrete floor. A man I'd never seen before had his hands on her waist. He was Asian, maybe 30, wearing a martial arts gi that hung open to reveal a fit, athletic build. Maria's fingers were tangled in his hair. For one frozen second, nobody moved. The air left the room. Then Maria saw me. She gasped and shoved the man away, her face going white. "Jake! Oh my God, Jake! Get dressed," I said. My voice came out flat, cold. The combat calm I'd learned in the SEALs settled over me like a familiar coat. It was a switch I hadn't flipped in years, but the mechanism was still perfectly oiled. The man didn't scramble for his clothes. Instead, he straightened up and crossed his arms, looking me over with an expression I recognized immediately. Arrogance, the kind that comes from someone who's never truly been tested. "You must be the husband," he said, almost smiling. Maria was pulling her shirt back on, tears already streaming down her face. "Jake, please let me explain." "You," I pointed at the man, ignoring her. "Who are you?" "Daniel Kim. I own Elite Dragon Martial Arts downtown. I've been training Maria for the past 8 months." 8 months? She'd started going to that dojo 8 months ago, talking about getting in shape, finding a hobby. I encouraged her.
"Training her?" I repeated. "Is that what you call this?" "Jake, please." Maria reached for me. I stepped back, keeping my eyes on Daniel. "How long?" Maria's voice cracked. 3 months. Jake, I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to... 3 months. The number settled in my chest like a stone. Every time she'd come home from class, every time she'd kissed me goodnight, every time she'd looked me in the eye. 3 months of lies. Daniel actually laughed, a short, dismissive sound that made my jaw clench. "Look, man, these things happen. Maria wasn't happy. She needed someone who could actually satisfy her." The red haze started at the edges of my vision. I'd learned to control it in the teams, to channel rage into precision. Satisfy her. You think this is about satisfaction? I think this is about her finally being with a real man. Daniel took a step closer. Someone who can protect her. Someone strong. I almost smiled. Strong? Yeah. He gestured at his gi, the black belt hanging from his waist. 3rd-degree black belt. Been training in martial arts since I was 6. I compete internationally. What are you, some corporate desk jockey? Maria's eyes went wide. "Daniel, don't!" "What am I?" I tilted my head slightly. "I'm the guy whose house you're standing in, whose wife you just had your hands on, and you want to talk about strength? I'm just saying, maybe if you were more of a man, Maria wouldn't have needed to find someone who could handle her." I crossed the distance between us in 2 strides. Daniel's hands came up automatically in a fighter's stance, but I wasn't swinging. Not yet. I got right in his face. "You have 10 seconds to get out of my house," I said quietly, "or I will put you through that wall." He smirked. Actually smirked. "Are you threatening me? Because I don't think you understand who you're dealing with." 5 seconds. "Jake grabbed my arm. Please don't do anything crazy." I shrugged her off without breaking eye contact with Daniel. 3. You know what? Daniel stepped back and spread his arms wide. You want to do this? Fine. Let's do this right now. You and me. I'll even give you the first shot. Daniel, stop! Maria was crying harder now. This is insane! Your husband wants to act tough. Let him prove it, Daniel said. He bounced slightly on his toes, hands up in a textbook fighting stance. Come on, tough guy. Take your shot. Let's see what you've got. The SEAL training whispered through my head. Assess, adapt, execute. Daniel was fit, trained, confident. He'd probably won dozens of tournament matches against opponents who followed rules, who tapped out when things got serious. He had absolutely no idea what real violence looked like. You're challenging me? To a fight? Yeah, right here, right now. His eyes were lit up with the thrill of it. Unless you're scared. I looked at Maria. Her mascara was running, her face pale and stricken. Part of me, a small part, wanted to just walk away, file for divorce like a civilized person, let the lawyers handle it. But the larger part saw something else, an opportunity. Not here. Too many things to break. Maria will just blame me for the damage. Daniel laughed. You're worried about property damage? That's hilarious. Your dojo, I continued, pulling out my phone. Tomorrow night, you, me, and whatever witnesses you want. Full contact, no rules. Make it official. His eyes widened slightly. Then that arrogant grin spread across his face again. You're serious? Dead serious. Give me the address. I'll be there at 8 p.m. Maria grabbed my arm again, her voice desperate. Jake, no, you can't. He'll hurt you. He's a professional fighter. I looked at Maria. Really looked at the woman I'd married, the woman I'd trusted completely, the woman who just destroyed everything. Don't pretend you care about me getting hurt, Maria. Not now. She flinched like I'd slapped her. Daniel was already pulling out his phone, practically grinning. Elite Dragon Martial Arts, 423 Morrison Street. I'll have my students there. They're gonna love watching this. I took a photo of the address on his screen. Good. Be ready to call an ambulance. You're gonna need one.
For you, maybe, Daniel called after me as I turned toward the door to the house. I paused and looked back over my shoulder. No, for you. 8 p.m. tomorrow, Daniel. Don't be late. Maria followed me inside, words tumbling out in a desperate rush. Jake, please, you don't understand. I never meant for this to happen. I love you. We can work through this. We can go to counseling. Stop. I held up one hand. Just stop talking. But Jake, please. I'm going to my brother's house. I grabbed my car keys from the kitchen counter where I'd set them down a lifetime ago. When I come back tomorrow to get my things, I want you gone. Stay with your sister, stay with him, I don't care, but don't be here. Where are we going to? What about us? Her voice broke completely. What about our marriage? I looked at her one last time. 12 years, gone in 3 months of lies. You ended our marriage 3 months ago, Maria. I'm just making it official. I walked out through the front door, got in my truck, and drove across town to Ernie's place. My older brother took one look at my face when he opened the door and stepped aside without a word. He disappeared into the kitchen and came back with 2 beers, handed me one, and sat down in the armchair across from me. We drank in silence for a few minutes before he finally spoke. You gonna tell me what happened, or do I have to guess? I told him everything. The garage, Maria and Daniel, the challenge, tomorrow night at the dojo. When I finished, Ernie sat back and whistled low. So, you're actually gonna fight this guy? Yeah. Jake, you could kill him. You know that, right? You've got SEAL hand-to-hand training. He's got tournament trophies. There's a difference. I'm not gonna kill him. I took a long pull from my beer, but I'm gonna make him wish I had. Ernie studied me for a long moment. I could see him processing it, running through the implications. What's the real play here? That's when I felt the first real smile since walking into that garage cross my face, because Daniel Kim thought this was about a fist fight. He thought this was about proving who was tougher, who was more of a man. He had absolutely no idea I was about to go to war. The fight's just the beginning, I said. That arrogant bastard challenged me in front of Maria. He's going to do it again tomorrow in front of his students, which means I'll have witnesses that it was consensual, that he wanted this. Ernie's eyes narrowed. And then I'm going to beat him in front of everyone he's supposed to impress. I'm going to humiliate him in his own dojo. And while he's dealing with that, I'm going to file for divorce, adultery grounds. I'm going to take the house, the retirement accounts, everything. Maria gets nothing. What about him, Daniel? I'm going to destroy him, Ernie. His business, his reputation, his marriage. Yeah, I already looked him up on the drive over. He's married. Wonder if his wife knows he sleeps with students. I finished my beer. By the time I'm done with Daniel Kim, he'll wish he'd never laid eyes on Maria. Ernie was quiet for a moment, then shook his head slowly. You're not just fighting back, you're dismantling both of them. They dismantled my marriage. Turnabout is fair play. He stood up and got us 2 more beers from the kitchen. When he came back, he handed me one and raised his in a mock toast. To justice, then, the seal kind. I clinked my bottle against his, the only kind that matters. Wednesday morning, I walked into Vincent Parker's office at 9 sharp. He'd handled my father's estate a few years back. Sharp legal mind, ruthless reputation. I laid it all out. The affair, the garage confrontation, Daniel's challenge, tomorrow night at the dojo. When I finished, Vincent leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. You're going to fight this man at his own dojo in front of witnesses, and you're confident you'll win? Absolutely. He pulled out a legal pad. Jake, I appreciate the confidence, but if you assault this man, you could face criminal charges. I pulled out my phone and showed him the text messages Daniel had sent me that morning. More trash talk about the fight, confirming the time and place.
He's documenting his own agreement to this, I said. Consensual fight. He challenged me. I have witnesses to that. This isn't assault. It's him getting exactly what he asked for. Vincent read through the messages, and something like respect crossed his face. That's actually smart. I want you to file divorce papers today, adultery grounds. I want the house, the retirement accounts, everything. And I want it documented that Maria Morrison and Daniel Kim were engaged in an affair. That'll take a few days to, I don't care what it costs, make it happen today. He made notes. What else? Research Daniel Kim. Business licenses, tax records, lawsuits, everything. I want to know every vulnerability he has. Vincent nodded slowly. You're not just fighting him, you're dismantling him. He dismantled my marriage. I'm returning the favor. I left Vincent's office and went straight to Elite Dragon Martial Arts for reconnaissance. It occupied a renovated warehouse in downtown Charlotte. Exposed brick, modern lighting, floor-to-ceiling windows. Through those windows, I watched Daniel leading a class. He moved well, confident, precise. Good. The harder he fell, the more satisfying it would be. I walked inside. A woman in a gi with a brown belt was working the front desk. Grace Hubert, her name tag read. I'm thinking about signing up for classes, I said. Been wanting to learn martial arts. That's great. What style are you interested in? Whatever Master Kim teaches. I nodded toward the floor. That's him, right? Yes, that's Master Kim. He married? I asked casually. The question caught her off guard. Why do you ask? Just curious about the owner, trying to get a feel for the place. He is married, yes. Her voice had gone careful. His wife, Louise, handles a lot of the business management. Louise, good to have a name. Does she come around often? Sometimes. Grace was definitely uncomfortable now. Actually, I'm coming tomorrow night. Master Kim invited me. I showed her Daniel's texts. 8 p.m. Should be quite a show. Her eyes widened as she read. Wait, you're the... Oh, no. Oh, yes. I leaned on the counter. Tell me something, Grace. Daniel ever had affairs with other students? She stepped back.
I'm not going to... It's not Maria Morrison first, is it? Grace's silence told me everything I needed to know. She knew. She'd known for a while. See you tomorrow night, Grace. It should be educational. I spent the afternoon at the gun range. Didn't plan to bring a weapon to the fight, but the rhythm of shooting helped me think. Assess, aim, fire. The same tactical mindset I'd need tomorrow night. From the parking lot, I started making calls. Sam Roberts, Adrian White, and B. Garcia, 3 former SEALs I served with. By 6 p.m., I had 3 friendly witnesses confirmed. Vincent's email came through at 7. I opened the attachment. Elite Dragon Martial Arts was 2 months behind rent, had significant business loan debt, and revenue was declining. And buried in the civil court records was a sexual harassment complaint from a former student, settled out of court. Daniel Kim wasn't just arrogant, he was a predator. At 11 p.m., I lay in bed and felt something I hadn't felt in years. That mission clarity, the absolute certainty that comes from having a clear objective. Tomorrow night wasn't just about a fight, it was about justice. I pulled into the parking lot of Elite Dragon Martial Arts at 7:45. The place was lit up like a stadium. Through the glass, I could see maybe 40 people inside, students, parents, all waiting for a show. They thought they were going to watch their master destroy some jealous husband. Sam, Adrian, and B climbed out of their vehicles and walked over. "You ready for this?" Adrian asked.
"Born ready," I said. We walked in together. The crowd parted as I moved through it. Daniel stood in the center of the training mat, wearing a traditional gi, black belt tied perfectly. He had 3 other black belts with him, intimidation tactics. "You actually showed up," Daniel called out. "Got to admit I'm surprised." "I keep my word," I said, "unlike some people." His jaw tightened. "You want to talk about honor? Your wife chose me because you couldn't satisfy her. That's on you, buddy." The crowd gasped. Someone laughed nervously. I smiled. "Is that what you tell yourself? That all the students you sleep with choose you?" I raised my voice. "How many does that make now, Daniel? How many women has the great Master Kim seduced?" Dead silence. Grace at the front desk looked down at her clipboard. "You don't know what you're talking about," he snapped. "Don't I? Anyone here know where Louise is? Daniel's wife? Did he invite her to watch this?" "Shut your mouth!" Daniel's voice cracked with anger. "Or what, you'll fight me?" I spread my arms. "That's why we're here, isn't it? Come on, Master Kim, show everyone." He stepped onto the mat. "You're going to regret this." I followed him. One of Daniel's black belts stepped forward. "Rules?" "No rules," Daniel and I said simultaneously. "Whenever you're ready," I said. Daniel moved first. Sidekick aimed at my midsection. Good form, tournament style. I trapped his leg, yanked him off balance, and drove my elbow toward his knee. He twisted frantically, pulling free before I could hyperextend the joint. Smart. He backed away, reassessing. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Thought you were going to destroy me." "Shut up," he hissed. He came in again. Jab, cross, hook. I slipped the first 2, caught the hook, and countered with a hammer fist to his floating ribs. Not hard enough to break anything, just hard enough to hurt. Daniel grunted and backed off. "You wanted a fight," I said. "This is a fight. What you do in your tournaments, that's a game. This is real." Daniel roared and charged, throwing wild punches. Anger had replaced technique. I rolled with the ones I couldn't slip, then caught him in a clinch. My forehead cracked against his nose. Blood sprayed. The crowd gasped. "You broke my nose," he shouted. "You wanted no rules." He came at me again, desperate now. Spinning back kick, flashy, telegraphed. I sidestepped, swept his planted leg, and he crashed to the mat. Before he could recover, I dropped onto him, controlling his arm, positioning for a shoulder lock. "Tap out," I said quietly, or I dislocated. No, he struggled. I applied pressure. The shoulder joint started to separate. Tap out, Daniel screamed. I tap! I tap! I released him immediately and stood up. The room was utterly silent. I pulled out my phone and took a picture of Daniel on the ground, bleeding and defeated. Here's what's gonna happen, Daniel. I'm filing for divorce from Maria. I'm gonna take everything, and then I'm gonna destroy you. Your business is underwater. That harassment lawsuit, I'm gonna make sure every parent here knows about it, and Louise is gonna find out about all your affairs. You can't, she whispered. Watch me. I gestured at my 3 friends. These men are witnesses that you challenged me, that this was consensual. Live with it. I walked toward the door. Grace caught my arm as I passed. He's not a good man, she said quietly. I've known for a long time. Then you should find a better job, I told her. Outside, Sam was grinning. That was textbook. Think it'll stick? Adrian asked. Oh, it'll stick. I forwarded the photo to Vincent. By tomorrow morning, half of Charlotte will have seen this image. Phase 1 is complete. What about Maria? B asked. That, I said, is phase 2. Friday morning, I sat in my truck across from Elite Dragon. The parking lot was empty. Through the windows, I saw Daniel hunched over the front desk. My phone buzzed. Vincent. Divorce papers were served yesterday. Maria signed, and the emails went out. Every parent on the mailing list got copies of the harassment settlement and the photos. How bad is it? Grace quit. 2 black belts quit. Parents are demanding refunds. It's brutal, Jake. His reputation is destroyed. Oh, and Louise Kim filed for divorce this morning. She hired Barbara Wilson, the most aggressive attorney in the city. Good. Maria called 14 times over the weekend. I didn't answer. Sunday night, I finally got a text. I know I hurt you, but I love you. We can fix this. I typed back. You didn't throw away 12 years. You set them on fire. We're done. Move on. She called immediately. Jake, please. I was confused. Daniel said, stop. You made a choice. For 3 months, you made that choice every day. I'm just divorcing you. That's mercy. Cruel would be posting those photos all over social media. Where am I supposed to go? She sobbed. I'm broke. Not my problem. The house is mine. The retirement accounts are mine. You get your car and your clothes. Figure it out. I hung up.
2 weeks later, Elite Dragon was shuttered. An eviction notice was plastered on the door. I went to the estate sale and bought Daniel's third-place trophy for $50 just to put it on my mantle, a permanent reminder that arrogance gets crushed. Louise's lawyer found Daniel's hidden offshore accounts. She took him for everything: the house, savings, alimony. Daniel ended up working at Planet Fitness as a personal trainer, from master to gym employee in 3 weeks. The divorce finalized swiftly. The judge ruled in my favor on everything due to the overwhelming evidence. I kept the house, the assets, the life. Maria was working at a call center, living on her sister's couch. 6 months later, I was hiking in the Blue Ridge Mountains, something Maria had always hated. At the summit, I felt stronger than I had in years. On the drive home, I stopped at a gun range and met Elsie, former military police, divorced, sharpshooter. We clicked instantly. So, what's your story? She asked over tacos later that day. Wife cheated with her martial arts instructor. I fought him at his dojo, won, and took everything in the divorce. Elsie laughed. You fought him at his dojo? Did you break anything? His nose and his pride. She raised her margarita to justice, to new beginnings. Elsie moved in 2 months later. She fit into my life seamlessly. One Saturday, we were having coffee on the deck when she asked, "Do you ever have regrets about dismantling Daniel?" "No," I said. "He was a predator. He hurt people. I just made sure he couldn't do it again. It was justice." "You're a complicated man, Jake Morrison. Is that a problem? Not even a little bit. A year after the divorce, I ran into Daniel at a gas station. He looked hollow, defeated, wearing a cheap gym polo. "You destroyed my life," he said when he saw me. "No, you destroyed your life. I just turned on the lights. You're a monster. No, I'm justice. There's a difference." I drove away without looking back. Elsie and I got married 2 years after that day in the garage. Standing on a beach in New Zealand during our honeymoon, I thought about Maria and Daniel. They were both broke, alone, and miserable. They had tried to destroy me, but instead they had forced me to become stronger. They had cleared the way for me to find the life I actually deserved. They got exactly what they earned, and so did I. I believe stories such as this find us for a reason. If this one touches you, please subscribe. I share a new one every day.